Welcome to the Park Board meeting. I'm Joe Chappell. I assume that I'm now the chair.
You are.
I think we voted. You weren't here.
And I
We
know.
voted you in.
I want to thank everybody for voting for me. I want to also commend Sherry French, the former chairman of the board, for her service. She's still on the board, but ill this evening.
Oh,
I guess I'm calling the meeting to order. And first of all, I would like to see if there's any public comments.
our little,
Yes, sir.
Yes, we need you to come up here to the microphone. Tell us your name, for those of us who don't know who you are.
And I'm president of the Johnson Garden Club, and I just wanted to come find out more about how your committee operates so that we can get a cooperative effort going with the city, which we already have, and other garden clubs and the master gardeners. So I came to listen and learn, and we will be submitting a plan for the gazebo sign next month at your next meeting. And if you have any questions, those who know me are more than welcome to call us.
and we won't meet next month because we don't meet every month.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I
we
know.
couldn't get it all together, so I guess it'll be 2 months, but we're not in any hurry.
Okay.
We wanted to try to get that for 89ers, but we recognize that
Too
it's
busy.
not gonna work.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me say something, and hopefully you know who I am, and will let me know if you need information from the garden club.
And you're, Mary Beth, you're primarily talking about doing plantings or something, is that?
Planting or sign painting if it involves the city, and this one does, because it's in a historic area. And that's why I'm here to learn what I do need to have our garden clubs. We have 2 garden clubs, we have the master gardeners, and we're trying to work together to make a joint effort to beautify that. But the apothecary gardens, we work on those. There's a lot of projects. So I'm glad to be here, and I will sit and listen. And I
Okay.
know all of you, so now you know me.
Well, we're still learning too. So. I'm gonna have to turn this thing on every time. The third thing on our agenda is to consider approval of minutes for the January 17th, 2013 Park Board meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? And if so, can I get a motion to
I
approve?
make a motion that we approve them.
A second?
I'll second it.
Motion passes. Number 4 is to consider approval of the Honor Park Agreement renewal. This is the American Legion's lease for Honor Park, which is on the corner of 2nd and Harrison Street. The lease is annually renewed for the newer members, and if you've had a chance to review that, I will say that the park has been looking really nice, and I actually saw some of the city crew the other day as I drove by spraying the weed killer on the
sidewalks.
on the sidewalk. Just happened to drive by, so I want to thank Blue's crew for the good work they're doing. But yeah, the park has really been looking nice as far as I can tell. So I will entertain a motion to approve or disapprove the renewal of the contract with the American Legion.
I make a motion that we approve it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. The 5th item is the discussion and consideration of planting knockout roses in the flower bed in the same area. I assume that's talking about Honor Park?
No, it's right across the street.
Oh, where the,
Parking area.
oh,
Sand
okay.
Farm Parking.
Where the is this where the trees are currently?
Yes.
And we're still looking at having those Bradford pears removed, is that
Right.
correct?
Correct.
What are we, I thought, did we vote on this?
No, we tabled it to find out how many plants it would
Oh,
take and
okay.
how much it would cost. And I think Blue was going to give us, and then we would vote on it.
Okay. And what we're gonna need is a total of 57 knockout roses. Okay, that cost is gonna be $1,140. And that's putting them 3 foot apart.
And I believe you assured us that we have money to do it. You weren't here.
I watched it-
Saying,
I
how
watched it
much
on
do we have
television, though."
money?
I watched the tape later. Couldn't wait to, actually.
So I think we just need to vote on it. We're going
Yeah.
to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
You wanna-
And as I'm new as the chair, I don't believe I can actually make a motion.
No, you
Isn't that
can't.
correct?
You
Okay.
can. I make a motion that we approve doing the knockout roses.
We have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sounds great.
And that motion carries.
Okay.
I don't know if I like my new iPad or not. It just keeps going off. So, the sixth thing on the agenda is discussion and consideration of the mural drawing for the community garden wall. And I guess it was tabled. I thought
We
someone would
tabled
be,
it to get more information, but she's not here.
I thought someone would be here to address it.
And that until we could see a color picture
Yes.
was one of the things too.
Well, perhaps we'll move on, and if she shows up, we can go back to this item.
We'll have to.
All right. And I guess now we may have a short meeting tonight. Wouldn't that be great? Announcements from the staff. Lou, what do you have for us?
Okay, Maxine's gonna set up a meeting with the Pisces and the John Quill Club on getting with the park board and the tree boards about some of these projects need to be done. So she's gonna get that set up. But we have done a few things in the parks. We have got the practice boards back on the tennis courts at Howland. We've done it at Mineral Wells today. We have replaced some of the split rail fencing in Mineral Wells, also at Mitchell Park at Guthrie Lake. Beginning to work on our playgrounds by adding sand. I got the swing seats ordered, the crawl tubes is ordered for Howland Park, so we got a bunch of things going. We got 3 additional part-time helpers this week,
Oh, good.
so that's gonna help. So we're just getting ready to,
And it's my understanding that on and bear with me if I
Okay.
repeat something you just
Okay.
said,
Okay.
or didn't notice something you
Okay.
just said. You have been looking at bids for the wall at Highland Park, or at least,
you're right, and like I did, I talked to Chucky Callan and a few other people,
Mhm.
so I'm waiting on quotes to come back from that.
Mhm.
I did get a quote on that, the shade for the playground at Highland Park. That quote came in at $33,000
Oh.
to shade that. So, I mean, that's a little outrageous, so,
right.
but I did get some quotes
Well, you
on that.
did, and appreciate that. That would be our budget for the year.
And I think we corrected
10
the
years.
problem on the spring at Highland Park where it was licking across the trails.
Oh, yeah, that got brought
So
up.
I think we got it fixed and got it covered. We still got to finish our landscaping and dress everything up. And I think
From
we
what
can
I heard,
take
that
care of
the cattails, that someone had planted cattails in that spring, and it sort of backed up and clogged up the drain, so
Right.
it was going over the,
it over on the other side of the steps.
yeah.
So I think we got that under control. So,
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, did you mention the lights on the trail?
okay, and then RC started on making the repairs to the
Yeah,
lights last week.
That's
so,
what I thought. Yeah, replacing the bulbs that had been knocked out on the trail. That's being currently worked on.
Right, and also then, it's also on the list for the drinking fountains and stuff to be repaired by line maintenance, so that's on the list also too, to
Okay.
get repaired.
righty. Next time I'll bring a hard copy. Item number 8 is request and comment from members of the board. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to mention or bring up?
I guess we're at a standstill as far as what they wanted to do as a mural on the wall at Mineral Wells Park. But I've looked at that. It's going to take a lot of work to get it ready.
Right.
And the other thing I know is one end of it, there's mud up, and I don't know if it splatters up there, and I'm like, if they were going to put the paintings there, how much of that would that be? Have on the one end looks pretty clean, but over by the garden itself, the mud is really splattered on that, and I'm like thinking that's where they wanted to do the mural.
Well,
I don't know.
maybe we could solve that problem by going with the color of the mud.
Well, red dirt.
Oklahoma mud.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Please. Yeah.
I've heard about the mural for the
Good.
community garden, but who is in charge of it?
Well, at present, it's just a request
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
from, what's Kim? Kim made the presentation last. What's her last name?
Kim.
Quickly.
Oh, I
Kim-
know Kim.
Kim, and she's with God's Food Bank?
Yes.
Community garden.
And the community garden, and it's just a request that they made a presentation of a possible
Of a drawing,
of a drawing,
the kids had.
and my understanding was that they were going to be back at this
Yeah.
meeting with a color rendition of it, so we could look at it. It had been tabled, and just to consider its appropriateness for the park and the area. So I guess what we'll have to do is wait till they present us with something.
Which now almost makes it, too late, because we won't meet again till April. No, I mean, May.
Well,
We
and,
didn't-
and
it's too late.
I might suggest too that since what Mary Beth was wanting to do with the garden clubs is to sort of ready Guthrie for 89ers Day, that we might be able to have a special meeting.
That would be great.
Because I would really like Guthrie to get sort of spruced up for 89ers Day. So,
We could definitely have a representative there.
how would we go about setting up a special?
I can get with Maxine tomorrow.
Okay, and Maxine could let us know, and I guess we could. I can certainly let Mary Beth know, and she could let her readers know in the column of her paper.
That's true. Be glad to.
And
The
maybe
other
the paper
question-
could actually put an article about the special meeting
Yeah,
so that
I'll be
people
glad
would
to
know
do that.
about it.
The other question, as a member of the historical board, some people are concerned about the mural since it will be highlighted and a part of what everyone sees that comes down to vision, that it reflects the historical nature of Guthrie. And I've heard that from more than one, and I just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah,
And that was Joe's concern too. I know that he.
Well, and one of the things that I will point out is that, and I've done a little research on that park, things that I didn't even know as a.
It's fascinating.
That park was once called Island Park.
Yes.
Didn't know that. That water treatment facility, the old one,
Yes.
was built in 1893.
I believe that's correct, yeah.
And the pavilion, although it is new, it was after the old one was destroyed, was the original one, and this one is built to the specifications of the first one, was also built in 1894, a year later. It's probably Oklahoma's most historic park, and that was my concern. I certainly don't want something that and I drove through there today just because I knew we were coming to the meeting, and as you drive through there, you do see that, the brightest color in that park is green.
Yes.
Everything is beige and green and sort of turn of the century. And my concern is that if we do a mural, that it would have to be something that doesn't scream at you, I guess, is
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, that draws too much attention to itself. And with the enormity of the wall, I think there's a lot of things to be considered, and I would hate to rush into it. If you're going to do a section of the wall, I think you need to really actually come up with a master plan for the entire wall.
Continuity.
You know, if you're doing a section at a time, sort of planning for the future on what might even end up being a tourist attraction on its own.
Right. Well, if you would like, I could get the museum and the Historical Society to submit for all five of you, or all the members of the board, pictures and history of the park, so that you've got it there in front of you and know what you're talking about, if
Yeah,
you'd
because
like.
I really feel like this is, you know, for lack of a better term, this is sort of like the Gettysburg of Oklahoma parks.
Well,
It's
and
probably
there's
the oldest park in Oklahoma, and I think we want to keep the historical integrity of that park intact, probably more so than any other park that we have.
That's great to hear. And there are also pictures at the leader of many events that happened in the park early on in the late 1800s.
And I will say that I walked down the path today of the park, and one thing that I did like, and another way to get kids involved, I had noticed that some of the bricks, and I actually have a photo on my phone that I might show you all later, that some of the bricks have been painted by students, you know, individual bricks. And I think that's a great way to make the community garden, you know, known by young children. But my concern is that we don't have a hodgepodge of ideas,
Yes.
that there's a cohesive theme, that this would be one of the major murals in the state of Oklahoma. So I think we have a real responsibility to protect the integrity of that park and do
Well,
something
that will soothe lots of feathers, so thank you for
Yes.
saying that, because that was a concern.
Well, and
I've heard
another
many
thing I will point out, and I do have a tendency to go on and on, but the new water treatment plant, you know, although it was a bit intrusive into the area, the old one was there, but there was every effort, if you look at that building, with the exception of the concrete wall, to make it sort of be cohesive with Guthrie, the red brick, the posts out front, the wrought iron. And I think it was, I know that when the community garden was being considered for that area, part of the park board at the time, the reason that we agreed to have it there was our hope was that the community garden would soften that wall. And there was a concern not to draw too much attention to it. But I do think a mural can work. I just think it has to be the right one. You
I
know.
agree. Thank you so much.
Okay,
for
thank
that.
you.
There has been a watering system that's been put in place.
Yes, I saw that in the paper, and that's a wonderful thing.
Lots of
Irrigation
pictures of it.
system. And one thing that I would, as furthering along the comments from the board, it was brought to my attention, this is something that Blue might be able to investigate for us. My dad, and he'll kill me for this, he's been known to be a little nosy and try to find things out, but this is some research that he did. And Blue, I don't know if you'll know about this or not, but Tony Waddell, who has pumps here in town, he told my father that there is already a well in that park 20 feet to the west of that sandcastle, and that it was capped one winter when it froze, and that inside that sandstone little building there, that Waddell installed a pump in 1978.
Yeah.
So, do you know anything about it?
It's a old pump in there.
Yeah, and at the well, and my dad said Johnny Winters, who I don't know.
Yeah.
Did he used to work for the park?
Worked for the city. For
Okay, well, Johnny Winters told my dad that there was a well 20 feet to the west of that little sandcastle.
Okay.
and maybe with a metal detector. Once again, we had talked about, getting water in that pond.
Oh, so we can have our,
But I think maybe that well had been something that had been forgotten. Don't know if it's a possibility, but it's certain, I know that they came back with all the estimated costs of what it would cost to get water to that well, and to that pond, and if there is a well there, and it could be used again, if it was environmentally safe and all the things that
We
they,
just gotta look at it.
Yeah.
Look at it.
yeah. So anyway, I just thought that was a interesting find that my dad dug up.
Because that well house is back there on the other side where the gazebo is. See, it was a pumping stuff back in there.
There was now I think and I may be totally wrong, but
And then the one in the center of the park.
this is the one that my
in the
dad
center
thinks
part.
is there's a
See,
blue pump in
It's
there.
a blue pump inside there. That's right, it's blue.
Yeah.
It's right
See,
inside there.
so some of his information's good.
Yeah, it's in there.
And 20 feet to the west is where, at least my dad understood, that Mr. Winter said that well existed. And it's,
Okay.
of course, it's over 30 years ago, so it's
Yeah.
got soil and stuff over it. But that might be something to look
Because,
into.
they used to use it,
Right.
so I'll check into it.
Well, anyway, the parks are looking great. I also want to say we saw blue on in the Oklahoman and Maxine for, Guthrie got the honor of being,
see that?
what is the actual title of that? A Tree City or?
Tree City, USA.
Tree City, how many cities in Oklahoma are there that are Tree City?
I had the list. They gave us a booklet and everybody was a Tree City, Tree Universities and everything that was on there. So, but I didn't count how many it was. I think Guthrie's 16 years now, though.
Oh, so we've made the
pretty
list
good.
16 years, that's really
Yeah.
good. All righty.
Well,
Any other comments?
There will not be a tree giveaway this spring.
Oh, there will not be.
No.
That's sad to hear.
They did not have the funding for that program this year.
Is this part of the sequester?
So we hope that by fall, there will be funding again for the free trees.
Okay.
Would you all like the Historical Society to get you a brief summary and some pictures of Mineral Wells Park?
Yes, and one thing, that would really be nice.
Okay.
I do know that too, and I think, does everyone have a copy of the city's comprehensive plan? I think I tried to give every new board member one of those.
Might be.
There's a whole section on the parks, and a lot of what I found out about the park, I got from that comprehensive plan. And if you guys don't have one, let me know, and I'll make you another copy, but that's a great, Mary Beth, thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you.
And one other thing that I would like to mention, well, I think I'll save it for after the meeting. It's just some questions that I had for Blue that I don't.
Has everyone seen the signs, the Welcome to Guthrie sign out in the west end and out by
Yes, and I think that's something we should mention. Thank you.
the Jonquil Garden Club had those painted.
Yes, they look brand new, and I guess they're just waiting for the landscaping. And I also read in the paper, was it the Master Gardeners that got a $300 grant or something along those lines? And
Yes,
I
they
do know
did,
that Mary
and-
Beth has actually been raising some money for planting around those things.
Well, Betsy Randolph got a grant, but she agreed and said in the grant to work with the garden clubs. We're trying to get a coordinated effort with Maxine, the garden clubs, and Master Gardening to work together, so we're all on the same page and we can get more done. So I'll keep
Okay.
you posted on that.
All righty.
And Lori is a member of Master Gardeners and the garden club, so she can keep you up also.
All right.
President.
All right. All right, does anybody have anything else to add?
No, I guess we wait the lady with the high school student, that's who was gonna do
Yes, and I
the
think-
painting. And I don't see how they can get it done
Right.
with, the time that we have left. Or can they do what we really want?
Well, and I think I think because of the magnitude of it, I certainly don't want to rush
Rush it, which
you
I
know.
think it was gonna be rushed in
Yeah, and
order
I'm
to get it done.
and I wasn't
before
at the
got
last
school.
meeting, but that was my concern, was that it
And I
was
think at this point, too, it needs to be a coordinated effort with the Historical Society
Exactly.
and
the park
Parks
board.
Board. Mhm.
Mhm. And actually, I will point out that that park is a part of Guthrie's Historic District. So not only would the mural have to be approved by the park board, but then it would also have to be approved by the historical board as well. So there's a couple of hoops that would have to
But
be,
my-
and I think that's a good thing.
My next question is that we need money to pay an artist.
Right, right,
And that's will be the big,
right,
do we have the money to
right.
pay someone? Because the students were gonna do it, of course, for nothing.
And I will, and I do know that there's a gentleman, and I know nothing other than the fact that he's probably Oklahoma's most prominent muralist. His name is Bob Palmer. And I actually put a call through to him just to,
Well, it'd be interesting.
yeah,
to
to
know
be,
what
and,
will it cost.
he and his students, I don't know if you've ever been down near the railroad track near the Santa Fe station in Oklahoma City. The huge mural that says Oklahoma and there's a train. He and his students painted that. He painted some of the murals at the state capitol. He's literally painted murals all over the United States, but he uses students
But
to
are they
help
col-
him.
Are they college students?
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
And I imagine that he comes up with the master plan and all they do is work on his idea, which, and one of my concerns about the mural, and although I wasn't here, I remembered Kim saying in the presentation that she made to you all when you were trying to get so many people's input that it's hard to make something that's fluid.
Exactly.
And I think this needs to be extremely fluid. So maybe one person's idea and a lot of people's work after it's approved by the park board and the historical society. So, but Blue will check on the possibility of a special meeting, if nothing else, so that we can work with the garden clubs to see about getting some of this planting done before 89ers Day. And if Kim would like to, come back with her ideas for the presentation, and we could discuss our concerns.
And the date for 89ers is right around
I believe
the corner.
it's yes.
20-something, whatever that
April.
last week of, in
It's the
April.
20th.
I should know,
Is it
because I do the silent auction.
Is it the 20th?
Isn't it on that
I
pin?
think it starts that week of, do you have a calendar
Isn't it on your pin?
on my pen?
On your pin on your jacket?
Oh,
Yay!
on my, oh, yes, those came out, they're beautiful.
It'll be
They
the
are.
21st,
The
won't it?
21st, okay.
The
I'm
21st
like, what
is,
she talking about?
is Saturday.
Stick that on there.
I'm going to make
Where's my
sure here. Don't want to have any false advertising. I believe 89ers Day is the 20th, but the week starts on the 16th, so we'd want it done before the
Yeah.
16th anyway.
Yeah, it's not very far away.
Right. Yeah, so we would be looking at, if we're going to have a special meeting
We better do
for
it that.
that, we're probably going to have it, since we meet on Thursday, like the 4th of April. Gosh, it seems like.
Well,
there's
I'll put that
something.
on, then you let us know, I guess.
Yes. All right, and any other comments from the board?
I don't think so.
I do want to, just for the record, I've got some pictures of the park that I'm going to let the board look at, and I thought that's where they wanted to put the sign. I wanted to put in context how visible this mural will be in the park and virtually everywhere in the park. So I at least want to go on record as letting everyone know that I'm giving you all the opportunity to look at this.
I think part of the reason why they wanted the mural is so that everyone would know that this is where the community garden is. So there are probably some other things that could happen that would serve
people know as
very
well.
well, like a wrought iron entrance to the garden.
Or a gazebo in the garden. I mean, or even like the beautiful little sign that when you right there on Harrison and Division that says "Welcome to Guthrie." you know, which is very vintage and sort of characteristic of the park. I mean, a sign like that. I mean, I think there's a lot of things, along with the,
It's a long wall. You could
Yeah.
put a lot of,
yes,
you
yes.
could really do a lot.
So, at any rate, I'm going to show you all this, and you're free to look at it. Bore our viewing audience, but we probably have already done that.
It's pretty.
And then I had also gone to Shawnee and taken some pictures of, Shawnee has a lot of murals downtown. Have you ever been there? Well, they do, and
Long time.
and I've got some other pictures of the good murals, but I did want to point out to you that sometimes not every mural is a good idea.
No.
So
Oh.
I brought some of those as well to see how, you know, we just want to be very careful and
Of what's up.
and in fact, I think in closing, I just want to read to the board members here. I brought this because I think it's important, especially when we're considering these things. This is the Guthrie Park Board mission statement, which I don't know that any of you were here when we actually wrote this. But several years ago, we thought it was a good idea that we come up with a mission statement. And the mission of the Guthrie Park Board is to restore, manage, and enhance the Guthrie City Parks in partnership with the public for enjoyment of present and future generations. In addition, the mission of the Park Board is dedicated to the understanding, restoration, appreciation, and preservation of landmarks, buildings, and sites within the city parks that exemplify the city's historic character and standing. So I think this is probably, in my time on the park board, I just feel like this is probably the biggest decision we've been looking at making as far as having a visual impact on a park. So any more comments from the board?
Nope.
Alrighty. Then do I have a motion to, can I just adjourn? Tell me, Blue, do you
can just
remember?
adjourn.
We're adjourned. They can find me later.
There we go.
Okay.
We can rescind your election.
Thank you.